I'm changing who I am. I'm making a new plan, rearranging my life, and I won't look back ever again. You ain't see me activated.
What's up guys, Masta Styles here, back with another impression video, and today we're going to be talking about the new hero, Samael, or Sham for short. I already have him at Immortal, and I also Hyperevolve him. In this video, I'll give you my impression on him, where I am using him, and where he kind of fits in. So I already have him at EX30, and of course, since he's a triple S, you want to make sure you do all his talents, because that's automatic, so you should know that by now. Let's take a look at his gears. So for gear, I was thinking fade out, because he comes back to life twice if you have him at EX30, and fade out at Immortal definitely brings something great to the table. But again, it takes a lot of investment, where I don't really have the prepared materials to invest into the fade out set. So for now, I'm just going to end up using in the Marauder set, because again, the Marauder definitely gives him lifesteal and 80% crit damage. So here I'm running crit on the gloves, attack on the helm, and when it comes to the boots, I don't really have a good attack boots, so right now I'm running damage reduction on the boots. And if you have a good attack boots, I suggest you put them on. But one thing I'll show you later on is that even with the extra 40% crit damage, he ends up dying. And here on his ultimate, it says that at the start of battle he should take 90% less damage, and sometimes in PvP I really don't see that. And of course, I'm running Phantom Cloak whenever I run him, so he ends up dying fairly fast the first time, but it could be in the build. But again, I am running 40% damage reduction, so I don't know what's going on there. So right now we're gonna take him into the PvE aspect, which of course we gotta go first here to Terradome, and of course they created him as a frontline assassin tank in a sense, even though you would probably use Dom in the front line anyways, even if you didn't have Sam, because again, you don't really need a frontliner for the assassin team because they teleport all over the place, so there really wouldn't be no need. The only person that's vulnerable on that team is obviously, if you're not going to be running Purin, but the only person that would really be vulnerable would be Fiona. And as you can see here, doing decent damage, but again, this stage here isn't really that hard. I wish they would increase the level on this. And to talk about Sam, he's not gonna really take too much damage here, because you got Purin damage reduction, Fiona's damage reduction, plus Phantom Cloak, plus the 90% damage reduction. So here I decided that, let's put him with the summoners and see what he can do. Because again, I like to see characters outside of their class, because obviously everybody is going to test him within the class. I just don't see him fitting with the assassin team right now. It could change, because again, once we do more testing and get more understanding of him, we can kind of figure out where he fits into the assassin team, because he does have some type of support aspect within his kit. But for me, the way I'm going to use him is because of my summoner team here. So my summoner team loses a lot during PvP, because again, everybody who faces it, all they have to do is pick energy, and chances are this summoner team is going to get wiped out because of Jaina, and of course they added Zeus. So I can't wait for the new summoner to come out. Hopefully that new summoner can kind of counter out the energy team a little bit, but for right now I'm gonna run him at the front line of my summoner team, because when energy comes, then he can either disrupt them or interrupt their focus. Jaina might shoot her blast towards him and he's on the other side of the map, versus it going straight towards the back at the summons. And of course Zeus is probably going to target him too. So that's kind of my thinking process in terms of that, because I realize that whenever I put summoners on defense, especially in Hell Arena, they tend to lose because, you know, they're always going to get hard countered all the time. So here, pretty much, I was just trying to see what he could do here, what he would bring to the table in terms of support. He out DPS the rally, and he did half as much as damage as Anpu. So now we're gonna also move him into another situation where let's test out his survivability. This is the perfect match to test out, can you survive? Because here, you know, with the boss doing a lot of damage to melee characters, this is a great test for him, and also what he brings to the table in terms of damage. Obviously this one, you know, with Makoto being in there and Dominic being there, they're gonna do most of the damage, but at the same time it's like, can you survive? Because normally what would happen, like after the Phantom Cloak pretty much dissolve, that's when the boss starts to hit harder, and then the assassins tend to die out. But let's see how they do here. You know, again, I'm keeping an eye on his damage. It's not bad. You know, remember, he's an AOE assassin. Well, his ultimate is AOE. So again, he's a mixture of both, and I feel like he does good damage. Obviously, Makoto and Dominic's gonna out DPS him. So how would he fit on the assassin team? That's the question you want to ask. And this is why I also talked about where, you know, pretty much creating a second assassin team, which is more AOE based. And of course, we would need another support for that for my setup, because again, one of my teams is consuming 2 supports, and I'll show you a little bit more about that. But for me, overall, I'm impressed in terms of his damage. Obviously, he's gonna do even more, and I'm not so quick to write him off because again, I don't want to get into an airy situation. And then again, we're gonna do more tests on survivability. I feel like here, this is a test of, can you be a frontliner? Because again, frontliner is pretty much supposed to take on the blunt of the damage and also distract the enemy from the other side. So him being an assassin as a frontliner, I don't think is that great because he teleports. So what happens here, he's in the front, which is great, but when he teleports, he pretty much leaves the front line of the enemy team and go in the back. And I just didn't understand, like, what was the intent of them creating this hero? Because where is he supposed to fit in terms of the assassin team? I do like his ultimate though. His ultimate is pretty good because once you get him to Mythic 1, you pretty much unlock his talents for his ultimate, which is pretty much 21% damage received to everybody that's in that area, which is major, especially for, you know, assassins or whatever team he's pretty much on. So, and also his ultimate, whenever he activates it, he's immune to crowd control. So the other thing I was doing here outside of survivability was to see if he would do more damage with more targets being on the board or stage. As you can see, his damage is really low. Maybe it's the, you know, fact that, you know, these spiders have high health or whatever the case may be, or high defense, because again, whenever he's fighting like regular heroes, he actually does more damage. So I'm very interested to see, you know, after more testing, the verdict is not out on him yet. I feel like once we get a better understanding of the hero, then we can decide whether, you know, he's good or not. But the question you're probably wondering, okay, you've seen all the testing based on PvE, you're like, okay, should I pick him up? I know you want to know if you should pick him up. Yes, get a copy. You know, again, he's an assassin. You never know, he can turn around being that, you know, high damage dealer. Once he gets to Immortal 5, that's when he becomes tanky, you know, not just high damage dealing, but tanky and hard to take down. So that's just something to think about. But in terms of should you summon for him, go for it, because again, it's a double chip event, so why not? I did mention that the double chip event is going to be longer. I actually misread that, but it's only going to be for a week. So if you want to get those extra chips, now is the time to summon, pick up your copy of him, and also get a copy of Anpu while also getting that extra gene hybrid. So for me, I did pick him up obviously, and I also ended up picking him up on my free-to-play account because again, getting that option to another assassin is great. least gotten Rickard because he is in the endless battle. And now we're just gonna transfer over to PvP. And here, like I said, I was gonna run him with my summoner team, and this is what I like to do. I like to do a mirror because obviously the teams that I have set up doesn't really go too well against, you know, summoners, because I have assassins and I have my meta breaker team and summoner. So I tend to do the mirror, and here, as you can see, he's literally distracting the other summoners, and I like that, and this is what I intended. And even having Jaina on the other side, which would be normally tough, because again I removed Daniel because Daniel this time I think he's at the end of his ride, and we'll end up doing it here. I was moving him around just to see if it makes a difference depending on where he is. The hero that's in the front left tend to be the main focus of the enemy team. So, you know, I just wanted to put him into PvP. I don't think I would run him in with the assassin team because I don't really have the space for him. Again, it's one of those situations like, do you fit into the team? So here, you know, he goes into his first death, he comes right back to life. But one of the things I do notice about him is, especially if you're going to face a summoner team with him, he tends to get stunned a lot. And there was moments where he was stunned for a long extended period of time. But again, I do like the fact that, you know, he is an assassin, so he's jumping all over the board, and the enemies tend to focus on him, and that way our assassins have enough time to take out their gobos and Duragon and move closer to getting to Anpu, because Anpu is a real threat on the summoner team because he's the one that does the most damage. So I did do this fight a couple of times. This one's a little bit different because now they have Nord, before they had Jaina, and let's see how we do here. I just wanted to fast forward because I didn't want to go through it. We end up losing, but that goes back to show that, you know, oh, actually I wanted to show you guys something here. So that's a max style Caraxia down there, and I just wanted to see what happened here. How did we win this? Because that Caraxia over there is max. I don't know if it's 120, I couldn't see there, but I just had to figure out how did we end up winning this match. And I'll pretty much look at it again, but for me, I was just surprised because normally when Caraxia is maxed out like that, the team just get melted very fast. So, you know, I did get an extra copy for my Caraxia, and I'm very happy about that. You know, my progression with her has been pretty good. So again, when it comes back to the new hero here, should you pick him up? Yes, get a copy. You never know. They might be something that we figure out later on down the road that makes him super OP. But for right now, he's all right. You know, it's not somebody you're like, oh, run to go get it. It's not a Zeus situation where, you know, Zeus coming out the gate, literally heavy damage. But I feel like that tankiness is what's going to be the determinant factor once you get him to those higher levels and you start unlocking those EX talents, and, you know, the damage reduction starts to increase. That's really when you are going to have a hard time killing this guy. And I think that's where his value is going to come in, when he gets to those higher level of evolution and you can't kill him fast enough and he starts ramping up the damage after that first death. Overall, my impression on him, I'm still not yet sold, but I feel like he could get better. So should you pick up a copy? I already said it, go for it. If you made it this far in the video, comment down below, Sam, I do want to do another video where I talk about, you know, my journey in Eternal Evolution, and within that I'll do some giveaways. I do have these gift codes that I want to give out, but again, it's going to be up to you guys to comment down below to let me know if that's something I should do. I have a couple of gift codes that I'm sitting on that I would love to give you guys. So if you support my channel, make sure you hit the like button. And for those that are new to my content, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell. Until the next video, peace.